Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to be looking at a system where the very idea of justice in land disputes gets turned on its head, revealing this massive conflict between what the law says on paper and how power actually works on the ground.
I mean, this one sentence really says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the paradox we're about to unpack. This is the real-world experience for people who follow all the rules, they go to court, they even win, only to find out that their victory changes absolutely nothing.
So, on the surface, if you were to just read the laws, China's legal system actually looks pretty solid when it comes to property rights. It looks like a system that's really designed to give citizens a fair shot. And this right here is the foundation of that promise. You've got the Constitution, the property rights law, the administrative litigation law. All of them clearly state that private property should be protected, and if the government takes your land, you have to get reasonable compensation. They give people the legal right to sue the government if they feel a land seizure is unjust.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the crucial point. There's this massive, unbridgeable gap between the promise of the law and the reality of its power. Yeah, the legal path is there. But a win at the end of that path, it has no teeth. Court rulings that favor the citizens, well, they're just not binding on the state.
So why? Why are court rulings just ignored? Well, to understand that, we can't just look at the law books. We have to look at the actual structure of the system. Let's see who's really holding all the cards. Okay, what's so interesting about this slide is just how clearly it lays out the fundamental problem. The citizen is the plaintiff. The defendant is the local government. But the court, the referee in all this, has its budget and its staff controlled by that very same local government. It's a huge structural conflict of interest. It's like the judge is basically an employee of the defendant. And this conflict of interest has created this really unique and frustrating outcome. It's called formal victory, substantive defeat. You get the piece of paper that says you won, but in substance, in reality, you've still lost. Your land is gone, the compensation hasn't changed. So let's see how this actually plays out for someone who decides to fight back. We're going to trace their journey through this system, a journey that all too often ends in one of these hollow victories. This timeline just perfectly captures that frustrating journey. It starts with hope. You file a lawsuit. Then you get this moment of validation. The court actually agrees with you. It finds a flaw in the government's process. But then reality hits. The judgment is ignored. The government just moves forward, and the eviction is carried out, sometimes by force. You won, but you still lose everything. Okay, but what happens if people don't accept this? What if they keep protesting, armed with their now totally meaningless court victory? Well, this is where the game changes completely. So when citizens, feeling like they're in the right because of a court decision, decide to stage public protests, the issue suddenly gets transformed. What was a civil dispute over land is now reframed by the state as a criminal act, a public disturbance, or even riot. And the exact same thing happens if they try to bring attention to their case by posting about it on social media. They're quickly accused of spreading rumors or disrupting social order. Their attempt to get public support is suddenly classified as a threat to stability itself. So here's the crucial point. By continuing to resist, citizens get pushed completely outside the protection of the very legal system they tried to use. Their civil case is over, and now they're facing criminal charges, which makes their court victory totally and completely irrelevant. This whole thing might seem completely irrational. I mean, why would a government create laws it has no intention of following? Well, from the local government's perspective, there's a powerful and cold financial logic at play here. It's a model known as land finance, and it's one of the main sources of revenue for local governments. The cycle is pretty simple. Acquire land cheaply from citizens, sell the rights to developers for a huge profit, and then use that money to fund big projects and pay off debts. Honoring court rulings that demand fair compensation would completely break this incredibly profitable financial model. The impact of this system goes way beyond just individual court cases. It fundamentally changes how people see the world and creates this deep, lasting scar on society. A deep cynicism starts to take root. This becomes the new common sense. People learn that the law isn't a rule for everyone to follow. It's just a tool for the powerful. They learn that fighting back is pointless, and that the smartest, safest thing to do is just comply and stay silent. Self-preservation completely takes over where community trust used to be. And ultimately, the judicial system just ends up acting like a pressure release valve. It gives people the illusion of a process, a place to vent their anger and maybe feel heard for a moment. But it's a device that's designed to absorb that anger, not to actually control or challenge the authority of the state.
And the experience of this illusion leaves this deep, seemingly unfixable rift between the people and the state. It's a relationship that's not built on trust or the rule of law, but on a foundation of quiet resentment and the knowledge that, when it really matters, the system is not on your side.